Welcome, apprentices. What's conjuring? How are we all today? How are you, apprentices? Today, as you can probably tell by the fact of this stream being named exactly what it is I'm going to be doing today, I am going to be discussing a little bit of Witch Hat Atelier, which I hope that you've all made sure to watch, or at least, read a bit of it, peruse a little bit, understand. Who knows? Who knows? Today, I've got to admit, I'm a little bit low energy. I'm a little bit low energy today, which sounds a little bit inconceivable, and I know that's a lot of little bits, which means that it might, in large part, be a very big bit, actually. So, we'll have to see how today goes, but yeah, I was so busy trying to edit the monthly compilation because I finally got time this weekend, and I took Saturday off, and you never realize how tired you are until you begin to rest. So I began resting on Saturday, and then I continued to rest, and then I continued to rest, and then by the time I realized, I was already starting my Sunday. And then as I'm starting my Sunday, I'm like, okay, today I'm gonna do things. Then, as a wizard, I get a little birdie in my mailbox saying, "Caw, caw!" Okay, it didn't do that. I didn't trap it in my mailbox. But I did have a little birdie in my mailbox tell me that I needed to help some of my other wizard friends, which means I had to check up on them. And then, well, I ended up being more busy than I thought I would be. So it was very busy today. I think I've only had maybe 3 to 4 hours to edit some of the videos that I set out to. I might not even have a short today. That's how busy things have been. So I worked on the monthly compilation, and oh my gosh, you guys submitted a lot of new clips for the past month. I think we had double the amount of clips. I'm not going to even acknowledge that one, Okami. I had double the amount of clips as we did last month, which meant that it was approximately 50 minutes that I was sitting down watching through all of the clips to try pick out around 20 of them that I think were best. And then, of course, I wanted to edit some of them down too, so I began cutting and splicing them, and wow. I would have to double check. I've got my OBS open, actually. Or, not my OBS, my DaVinci Resolve. So, I've got my DaVinci Resolve open. I've cut it down from 50 minutes down to approximately 20. And I think I might reorder some of them. So, yeah, I've cut down about 30 minutes. I've watched it so many times. I've cut out 20 to 30 clips already. And picked out the best ones. So, yeah, there were a lot of clips this time around. Monancho! I'm pretty sure it added the number. I remember thinking about how I'm supposed to be at 60 today because I saw it increase to 59 on Friday. Yeah, I'm really not sure how come. I'm not sure why it decided to remove your streak there, Disco. But yeah, that's weird. Yeah, I had to stop myself from watching the whole anime. The whole weekend gone and tomorrow work again. It really does feel like it goes by way too fast, and I did really enjoy Witch Hat Atelier as well. I could only think to myself, though, like, oh gosh, I'm really closing in so quickly on streaming time, and I need to have a short bite today, but I don't actually know if I have one, so we'll have to see. A chicken? No, that was a little birdie, just a generic one. The anime is good. I do have something to say, too. Oh, some things you want to say about Witch Hat Atelier? Yeah, and I love the arts and the animation, especially in episode 5 to 6. Yeah, it was episode 5 that it happened, I think it was. And, hello! I'm gonna say hello to everyone now. Hello, Mr. Brown. Hello, Disco. Hello, Kaimana. Hello, Okami. And I'm not going to acknowledge that message that you sent. How are you all doing, my apprentices? The dragon scene where Quifree came? Yeah. I'm surprised they put in that much animation into certain parts of the anime. Not just because it's like adapting from a manga, in which case you've only got the still panels to work from, but they put in so much effort into bringing it to life, which is really impressive. I really like how much effort they put into the animation of Witch Hat Atelier, and I'll be getting into some of the other points that I've written down prior to this. I have a couple of episode synopses, and again, this is going to be a case of I know more of what's going to happen, I know more of what's going to be said. However, I have forgotten some of the details and specifics because I read it about I want to say like 4-ish years ago, approximately, which means that I don't remember everything exact. Then, as I watched through it, I tried to recall, but it was nice to recant everything that I had seen or read prior to this. So, hopefully, we all have a little bit of insight, a little bit of new discussion, and a little bit of, new things to say. Let's figure it out together, shall we? So, I hope it's only my clips, because they're the best. Your clips are also the longest, so they've shown up quite a few times. And yes, there are a lot of your clips. I feel like I should try to, if you would like, I would try to give credit to who wrote down or who submitted some of the clips. Honestly, though, it's like a whole bunch of stuff to it. I'm wondering myself personally if I should write a script to download and create a credits text file with all of the credits and everything like that, because my goodness, it was, yeah, again, 50 clips, really long titles. Again, I think if one thing, I think you need to shorten some of your titles. Let me see if I can find one of them. But one of them was like 3 sentences long or something. It ended up being really, really long, and I'm like, okay, I need to cut down some of these. They're far too long, and they end up going on like 3 lines. So as long as we can try keep consistency in the names, then I can include the names still. I don't want credit, that's perfectly fine. This is why I wasn't sure. I wasn't sure if I wanted to do that. Add comments and pick tip. Now you're Virgil, welcome. And now you're also on the Polyester Spider-Man edits. Okay, Polyester Spider-Man edits as a GIF as well, or as a picture. Okay, I'm gonna have to find this. I'll write this down, and then I'll probably have it ready by next stream. Polyester Spider-Man loading screen edit. There we go. I've got it written down, but as said, today we're going to be discussing some of Witch Hat Atelier, and I've actually got a pretty old game that we've got that I've streamed previously. I've streamed this previously, but it's been a while. It's been a while since we actually played it. What sloppa is it today? Why are you calling it sloppa? Why are you calling it sloppa? It is far from being sloppa. Okay, I've got it here, and then we're gonna go to the main scene. Yeah, that's right, we're back on Peglin. I was thinking to myself, wow, it's been ages since we played a little bit of Peglin, so why not? It was either that I had rolled a couple of random ones to pick between, and it landed on Peglin, so I thought to myself, you know what? I think we go back to our roots. I think I go back to my roots when I do this. No, stop. It's not Peggin, not Peglin. Or, sorry, it is Peglin. It's not Peggin, whatever. Okay? Just keep it as Peglin. Just keep it as Peglin. Okay? That's all we need to have it as. Hello, Mississippi Gonzo Redcorn. How are you doing? No, not you too, Virgil. Okay? It's Peglin. It's Peglin. Nothing else. Nothing else. There is no lack of the L here. There's no lack of the L and G, just Peglin, okay? Because it's a goblin who shoots balls at pegs. That's how this works. So, is it? No, it's by nothing. It's by nothing. There's none of these. No, also not peeing. Why, apprentices? Stop this. I know you both or you all like misspellings, but I've never once taught you how to misspell like this. Kidney stone balls? Probably could be. So long as you have a good diet and you make sure to eat properly. Just make sure your food is all properly digesting and you should be largely okay. I think it was a bit of a... no, none of that. As said, I'm a little bit low energy today, mostly because of how tired the weekend has me. I will try to get out the monthly compilation sometime this upcoming week, I believe. I'm wondering if this week, maybe Monday I can try have it out by. I'm not sure how many more edits I'm gonna have to do, and I'm also not sure what else I need to do for it, but I'm probably gonna be posting it on Monday. Is Twitch chat on that BS again? Yes. Yeah, they probably are. They're trying to change the name of Peglin to, well, Pagan. And I'm having none of it. I'm having none of it. Since you're tired, can I enable emoji mode then? No! No, you can't enable emoji mode. I'm trying to have discussion with all of you, and I'm trying to discuss, well, later on at least. I think we'll wait a little bit because I'm not sure when Helios and some of the others are going to show up to be able to discuss a little bit of Witch Hat Atelier. I'm saying a little bit of the entire time, but I assure you, it's by no little means that we're going to be discussing Witch Hat Atelier. We can discuss with emojis. No, you can't. No, you can't. How would you go about it then? How would you go about discussing with just emojis? Please, give me a synopsis of the first episode in emojis only, and then maybe I'll believe you, Mr. Brown. Start with that, and we'll pose a challenge. Because I don't think we can have any kind of fruitful discussion if you were to do that. No, blue flavor doesn't count. That doesn't count either. I'm not... lol, purple heart, sleep, purple heart, lasers. No? No, do you know what happened in the first episode? Is anyone here aware of what happened in the first episode? Am I gonna have to reiterate or describe what's going on? There were also no cats in the first episode. I'm not quite sure what to tell you here. A lot of ice. There were no ice moments, except if you mean crystals. But yeah, that's somewhat true. If you were to use the ice emoji, I probably would have understood that. I took the manga route, let me be. Okay. I'm not judging. I'm not judging with if you take the manga routes or not. I'm just saying, if you're able to describe it via the emojis that you have at your disposal, then that's perfectly fine. But otherwise, I'm gonna have to say we're not using emoji mode for whenever we're discussing any manga, you know? I haven't watched it. What? It's a part of the Animanga Club for this week, Virgil, and also next week, I suppose. The suggestions, by the way, of which will be closing by the end of this stream. I give up then. See, aren't things so much more easy now that you know that emoji mode wasn't gonna work? I think so, Mr. Brown. I think you've realized, you've come to an understanding. I guess it won't work. I guess it won't work to be able to use emojis the entire time, and you know what? No. They don't. They don't. I don't have time. Me neither. You didn't vote on the game voting yet? Oh, you didn't make the game voting thing yet, by the way. Yeah, I need to do that. I thought I was going to be able to do it yesterday, but then today I became so busy. Like, as said, I was tired. I was sleepy, and I thought to myself, I think what I'll do is I'll rest for today, and then I slept way too much. So, yep, unfortunate. I will do it today. I'll do it at the end of stream, or after stream. Maybe we can do it today, or even at this... No, sorry, not today. Or we can do it during today's stream. I mean, and we can probably try that one day. Yeah, one day, but today is not one of those days, Mr. Brown. Not one of those days. Either way, maybe... Okay, I'm not sure when everyone's going to be ready to discuss a little bit of Witch Hat Atelier, but I figure that this is a better time than any to begin discussing it. It's about 15 minutes through, so I can begin. I can begin. So, Witch Hat Atelier. The first episode starts with the quotes or the saying, "Not everyone can become a witch," and our MC complains that she wishes she could become one. A Pegasus carriage shows up outside her door, and she calls for her mom. Outside is a professor, who we also learn to be Kifri later on. Then we learn through her mother that our protagonist is called Coco. She's the daughter of a craftsman, and very clearly has a passion for magic. The wizard came for some fabric, and in cutting it, the wizard acknowledges Coco's ability to cut fabric straight, or at least as straight as she has, and have a steady hand. She says that she admires magic after meeting with a witch in the woods one day, and speaks of how magic can be a Pegasus carriage, the light beneath her feet, etc., and is what makes the world vibrant. In doing so, she, the witch that Coco met during one day inside the town as she was visiting, gives Coco a magical picture book and a wand. She shows it to her mother, who replies saying it's impossible for Coco to become a witch, and that only those born with magic are able to use it in the first place. The wizard looks on in acknowledgement before they're interrupted by the Pegasus horse outside. As the female customers complain about the Pegasus carriage being destroyed, the wizard says that he can fix it. The women question him how he, Quifrey, can fix it, and he pulls out of his hat a little bit of a magic spell book of sorts. He introduces himself as a wizard and puts on his hat, and offering him her workshop. In other words, Coco offers the workshop to Quifrey. Quifrey enters inside and tells Coco not to enter and to not allow anyone else to enter. However, as she does so, two boys begin to crawl up the side of the house and begin to peek in because they want to see what kind of magic Quifrey is about to start. Upon doing this, upon seeing these boys spy, she climbs up on the building and they begin to peer inside. They peer inside and realize that the curtains are drawn. Whatever. The wind blows, and she eventually goes inside. However, she also sees Quifrey and what he's drawing. So, despite having told herself, I probably shouldn't be doing that, she decided to do it anyway. So, can't trust Coco in this case. Either way, once they come around to seeing, or once Coco comes around to seeing what it is Quifrey's doing, she realizes that magic is not something that you're born with. Magic is something that you draw. So anyone has the capability and the potential to use it. However, upon bidding Quifrey farewell, Coco's mom reveals that her husband, and Coco's father in this case, died to illness. She would be devastated if Coco had asked to follow the wizard along, because it seemed like Coco wanted to follow the wizard along. However, she decided ultimately not to because she ended up spying on what it was he was doing anyway, which, you know, probably should have been doing that in the first case. Either way, at night, Coco then uses the wand, now realizing it's a pen, to begin drawing. She opens up the magic spellbook that she was given by the lady in the city and begins to copy some of the sigils, some of the signs, and some of the glyphs as was depicted. After she does so a couple of times, she draws a circle and the spell completes, showing off a couple of light show fireworks or whatever it is. However, as we flash to the perspective of Quifrey again, sleeping by the campfire, he's bothered by the fact that Coco only received a picture book from someone who claimed to be a wizard, or a magician, or a witch. Depends on what translation you use, but Witch Hat Atelier likes to translate everything as being a witch. However, it's not just a witch in this case, because the technical term, or the term that they use in Japanese, is just magic user, so it does tend to translate into both magician, witch, wizards, and just magic user. So it's a little bit vague there, but going by the name of the anime, that's obviously why we continue to use witch instead. However, Quifrey just breaks through and pulls Coco out of the window as she finishes the pattern once he visits her at night. The reason for this being, he became awfully suspicious of what notebook or what magical book the witch had given her, realizing that it's a book full of forbidden spells, and Coco had just finished writing down or drawing said forbidden spells. Once she's done drawing it, it blows up into a massive crystal sculpture, engulfing her entire house as well as her mother in the wake of this semi-crystal explosion. After that, Quifrey then says since you found out about magic and how it works, he must now erase Coco's memories. Coco pleads, saying that if she forgets what page and what the magic circle looked like that she had just drawn, then how or who will save her mom if not for that? Quifrey realizes that her memories and remembering what the circle looks like will bring him closer to their trail. It is then that Quifrey takes Coco as his apprentice. The first episode is really good, actually. I really enjoy the first episode. I think it was probably one of my favorite parts just in general, and I think it's pretty easy to say that the first episode does a lot of things right. I think oftentimes a lot of the animation budget, a lot of the storytelling, and a lot of the context or things that need to be contextualized sets up a lot of mysteries at the beginning of most anime/manga, which I feel, yeah, it makes sense, but I will also say that I do really enjoy how they managed to establish everything there. It's sort of cliche that people end up dying in the beginning, but losing one's parents, I don't think anyone wants to go through that Batman origin story for Coco there, except she was the one who did it, so not really the same thing. Nonetheless, I enjoy the first episode, but what do you all think about the first episode? Was there something that stuck out to you? Was there a mystery that perhaps gripped your attention first and foremost? I know that there are a couple. There are a couple more things as well, just besides the glaringly obvious that are pointed out. Albeit, I don't think that this is as much of a mystery anime as Shinsekai Yori, so it's more or less just allusions to, like, oh, you get to learn about it here, but they don't actually tell you anything about it until you get to that point, right? So they don't try to expound upon who they are, or what kind of magic circles existed, or why they're so against it in the first place, because there is a mention of forbidden magic in the first episode, but beyond the mention of that, it's not really expounded upon. It was okay. I kind of have mixed feelings about Coco. Since the first episode, or do you mean just overall from what you've watched or seen currently? I'm curious. I kept wondering why some random witch gave a random kid a book of forbidden spells. Yeah, there is that question lingering just in general. While it makes sense why you would probably question it, I do think it also makes sense a little bit later on. Not only because you get the reason as to why, but also because I feel like the reason... I don't know if it's actually explained as much as I'd hope it was, but... Maybe it's fine to say now. No, I'll skip on saying it now. I read the manga as well, so I can only go off of base vagaries that I have or that I remember since I last read it. I assumed it was a trap for the future that maybe one day it would snap, but it looks like there's more reasons to it. Yes, there are certainly more reasons to it. She's less of a chosen one and more of a she happened to be at the right place at the right time and have an interest/love for magic that was noticed, if that makes sense. But that brings us to episode 2. So in episode 2, the episode starts with, obviously, a Pegasus carriage. Arriving at Quifrey's house, Quifrey goes off to fetch Coco clothes while leaving her with some kind of water orb. I forget the name of it, but it was like some water vortex. A vapor bubble, that's it. I've got it written down literally on the next sentence. The pink-haired girl, Tetsuya, tells her not to worry. It's a vapor bubble, and Coco says thank you, but the girl says thank you for saying thank you. Wow. The blue-haired girl, Riche, walks in saying she won't stop if you keep thanking her like that, but upon revealing that Coco cast her first spell yesterday, the other girls stop talking and begin to glare at her. At least a little bit in both of curiosity and judgment, as they realize she was the reason why the forbidden spell was cursed or cast yesterday. A rumor started that an outsider has cast a forbidden spell and that they were allowed to keep all of their memories intact. Quifrey explains that magic has sparked conflict again and again. However, when given the power to do anything, they will do anything with that power. And in this context, Quifrey is talking about humans being granted the power of essentially imagination, or imagination being the limit to their abilities and what they can do, because anytime they're given said power, as said, they tend to use it for anything and everything, which usually is a result of, oh, actually, I want to kill you now. So they use their magic for war and everything like that. However, society from that point on is built around revoking the memories and ability to use magic from those who would abuse it, and that day is called Day of the Pact. Therefore, everyone must keep the secret that anyone can use magic. At least everyone, in this case being all of the wizards, wanting to keep it a secret that, yeah, you can use magic, but we're not going to allow you to, because you probably would use it for something bad, and we can see that based on the fact that Coco decided to try some magic for herself, and it ended up killing her mother. Nonetheless, he shows Coco examples of magic that it all uses circles, and uses a mirror that can see into other places to show the Temple of Tomes. However, to get to the Temple of Tomes, Coco must pass the librarian's trial. Before you can even get around to that point, however, she's appointed to a room, and Coco must share it with Agot. I'm gonna say Agot. She shares it with Agot, who is another girl who's also one of Quifri's students. She apologizes to hear about Coco's mother, but said, and this is Agot speaking in this case, but says that her mother will never return to being human. However, this is a bit of a contention. I do have to say, and I've written down this myself, I really do not like Agot. So Agoth? No, because they say Agotto, or Agot. So, it's a little bit of a weird name. She is really mean, and I have to say, even from this point onward, I do not like her. I've read the manga and everything, and she comes off as one of those characters who always wanted to be the prodigy but never was, and then keeps setting up the worst case scenario for Coco in every case that she can think of. So, the next morning, Quifri gives Coco her ink and wand components. The components to a spell are a sigil, the signs, and a circle, and with it, it determines how spells work and what they do. Isaac, do you remember that your father is dead? That's essentially what Agot is like. She decides, actually, I really don't like that Coco managed to get in here somehow, so I think I'm probably gonna let her die. I think I'm going to tell her to go die by doing this in some kind of circumvented method, or some kind of circumvented way of doing it, with how Agot is talking about it again and again. Yeah, I'm not going to disagree with you. She's really insistent and very persistent about being as mean as possible to Coco sometimes. Even from this first impression, I don't like her, but also I kind of understand, yet at the same time, you would have to see it from a perspective of, oh, I don't like this new person coming into here being good at magic or being allowed to retain their memories, but at the same time, she did just lose her mom. She is now an orphan. She also knows about magic, so why not just erase her memories and then throw her into a village somewhere? But that's like casting her to death. You know, she's got no one that can take care of her. She doesn't know anyone else. And somehow, it feels like, yeah, that's justified. You know what? Cool. We can just allow her to die and do whatever else she needs to. So we can skip this part. The next episode. Hello, Helios. Hello. We're just discussing Witch Hat Atelier. We're now on the third episode as we're talking about it, but of course there will always be the post-synopsis per se discussion, so no worries about that if you've missed a little bit here. But just to recap you real quick, the first episode was whenever Coco decided to explode her house into crystals and everything like that, and the second episode was where she met Aga and, you know, kinda did not like her so much. Third episode, however, Quifri enters a tower with a giant spiral staircase. There he meets Elira, and she questions whether Coco is connected to the Brimmed Caps and says she's the first to have cast a forbidden spell in a very long while. However, what I found very weird about this episode was that they decided to interact or decided to, like, mention who Elira is this early. I know that they do this in the manga, I think, but they don't really give any context to who she is or what she's done. 4 years, was it? I don't remember them giving a date in the anime. They probably did in the manga, and they give you more context as to who Elira is in the manga, but as for the anime, they're just like, oh yeah, by the way, this is Elira. And I'm like, I don't even remember who Elira is. You haven't given me any context as to what she does or who she is, so it was a little bit odd. Hello, Silent Scythe. How are you doing? How are you doing? I think they said nobody cast a forbidden spell in 4 years. I wouldn't be surprised if it was something like that. I mean, it sounds about right, given the timeline and everything, but yeah, I wouldn't place, like, super high bets on basically any part of it, because translating and watching the anime and trying to figure out if everything holds consistently, as well as how much dialogue they skipped out on, hard to know. Hard to know, but I'm good. What about you? I'm pretty okay. This weekend, I'm fairly tired. I'm actually really exhausted, so today is a bit of a low-energy day for me, which means, well, I'm still trying my best. I really like that the way the spellcasting works. I do too. You know, coincidentally, and this might be, I don't know, something that I show at some points eventually, inevitably, maybe, I don't know, probably not. I wrote a bit of a story when I was writing a short novel, and it ended up being somewhat similar to how they describe the magic system. At least my magic system that I had written down at one point was about how magic from different cultures and societies form their own unique systems, and most things are based off of the symbolism. So sigils and whatnot are used, and you draw different sigils or circles in order to cast spells, and then you'd infuse it, but it's a different principle. So I was like kind of surprised. It was like, huh, I remember reading about this and also writing something like this a long time ago. I'm just very chuffed that they, or the mangaka actually, adopted it to be as in-depth or as fleshed out as it was, because I know that there are quite a few people who have made their own, like, made their own spells using the magic system, which is quite cool. Yeah, honestly, I'm a bit distrusting of translations. That's why I always watch explanation videos for every ReZero episode from novel readers in case they made a huge mistake. That makes a lot of sense, actually. Although I can, like, understand what it is they're saying, it's dependent on what context or interpretation that they decide to choose for the anime, because it completely shifts how you think about it. And by that, I mean, for instance, with the magic user. So, just being a magic user as translated in Japanese is non-gender specific, but how they translate it into English was they decided to go with the only one translation of being a witch. Which, no pun intended, is understandable, but at the same time, I feel like witch is usually gendered towards women. In most cases. In 90% of cases, I think. So, it's bad enough for random anime, but it's way too bad for anime where every piece of info is important. It's especially the case whenever it comes to Fate. Whenever you read through or watch Fate, there are a bunch of instances where they'll translate things differently from how they're said, because some of it does make sense and some of it doesn't make any sense at all. And by it, I mean things like, in Fate Heaven's Feel, there are a couple of instances where they're talking about the Grail, and I'm trying to be as non-specific as possible, so if you haven't seen it, or if we do end up watching it, that we're not I'm not spoiling anything about it, but some of the translations there try to talk about homunculi and effects of the Grail in a very weirdly translated way. Also, Gilgamesh has a couple of lines that translate way differently when you read it directly in Japanese to when you hear it translated or in a dub, so it's barely the same thing. But yeah, I think that's about... Oh wait, no, I didn't even go over the third episode fully. I just spoke about Elira, and then I had a note about how she's hardly explained it all, or isn't given any context, as opposed to how she's given a lot of context in the manga. Anyways, they speak of this year's test, and Quifrey says that it's the highest elevation they've ever had for a test, and that it could kill some of his apprentices, or that it could kill apprentices. We then flash to Coco's perspective, who was then challenged by Auger. She is to perform the first test, the consent of the crown, and must reach the summits to collect a specific herb. Auger says that if she can't even do this, she should be expelled from the Atelier and isn't deserving of being a disciple of Quifrey. Coco is left with a guidance orb and a water siphon. While Coco is practicing flying with shoes, we pan to Quifrey at the Great Hall, getting papers approved. While practicing, In this case, Coco, as we flash back, she finds a brush buddy, but accidentally wipes off the magic circle from her shoes after having fallen in to the pond or the lake below after one of her failed attempts. We then swap back home again, and Auger says that she hates people who can't do what she can, that they don't deserve to learn magic, and she knew that this year's rules meant that the summit is at its highest, and that the flying shoes that she gave Coco wouldn't allow her to reach the summit in the first place, meaning that she will inevitably fail, she'll give up, and then she'll decide... she'll eventually come back and decide to leave the Atelier. Hello, Maladaptive! We're just discussing a little bit of Witch Hat Atelier. We're still on the 3rd episode as I give it a little bit of a synopsis on it. So, how are you doing? I'm doing pretty okay. A little bit tired otherwise, but it's a bit of a slow weekend for me. Though, slow weekend in that I also didn't manage to get much stuff done, so I ended up stressing today and tiring myself out. You know, one thing I don't like is how they're all just accepting her instead of hating on her. Do you mean of Coco, or do you mean of Agot? Like... Or how do you mean in that case? So, Agot. Oh, yeah. I do agree with that. I feel like it's... Oh, do I want to say it's understandable because she's been a part of the Atelier and you eventually learn later some things about Agot? I don't know. Because one of my main reasons why I really don't like her is that she's very, very into being the best witch slash wizard out there, and she really just hates everyone by the looks of it. So, setting up the insanely 2-week late Minecraft server for a friend group. Ah, the late Minecraft server. How's that going? How's that going? Yeah, like a lot of Japanese shows were being very political of how classist the society apparently is. I do feel like that's partly the West as well. I mean, it is very classist, but the show in and of itself is somewhat political in how it decides to talk about their class system and the use of violence and the use of brainwashing slash mind control and whatnot. And I did write down as a bit of a post-discussion that this relates to, in a way, why I really like Shinsekai Yori. So, like, she just straight up says she wants Coco to send Coco to hell, and the pink girl just acts friendly with her the next day, and so does Coco. Yet they're all very accepting of how mean Agot is. Like, they want to be understanding of her and her situation, but Agot just really wanted Coco to die. So, you can't take this stuff too seriously, though. Lol, it's a 13+ show. Yes and no. Yes, because it's meant to be, like, lighthearted and whatnot. There are very juvenile moments and so on, but some of the intentions, like, you can read about it in some of the interviews that the mangaka or the author of the show, as well as the manga, wrote, is that she intended for it to actually convey a message. So some of it is actually intentional. They will keep forgiving. Yeah, and they will because they're kids. No one knows what they want, and I'm the only modder, so I'm having to build this in a cave with scraps. Oh, yeah, making mod packs and figuring out what everyone wants, usually at that point, I'm just like, okay, well, I'm going to design what I want, and then I'm going to add some quality of life features for what others might want. However, I really like difficult Minecraft mod packs, so my opinion tends to be skewed, because I think it's fun to have very difficult mod packs, but I know not everyone likes to play difficult Minecraft. And I'm not meaning RL Craft. RL Craft just sucks, in my opinion. That's meant to be bad and meant to be annoying. It's not meant to be like one of those fun mod packs where you do anything and everything that you want to while also having a bit of difficulty. No, it's just like, oh yeah, you got headshot by a skeleton, that's you over. So, I don't know about that. Auger loves Terraform Mage, Magracraft. I've not heard of that one. I've not heard of that one. This stuff is the way it is because the editor had the author modify it for mass appeal. Some of it is. Some of it is, yeah. I can see that. And because the core audience is for manga is still like a 12 to 15-year-old age group. Also true. And as said, like, some of the design decisions were there entirely because she was trying to convey some kind of message, but it also has to be for a younger audience, you know? So it makes sense in that case. It is a drama, but it's also not meant to be an overly serious, overly political take of certain situations or of the world as it is, but it's meant to be like, have you ever considered criticizing this a little bit? And nonetheless, I still enjoy it. I still really like Witch Hat Atelier. They're not gonna throw away Agot just because she's mean. They didn't even kill the dragon that was trying to kill them. We'll get to that. Not sure about the water dragon Quifri made to fight it, but yeah. I don't remember what the manga said about it, but you can bet your bum that the dragon is dead. The dragon is basically dead. I don't remember how the manga decided to depict it, but it had like maybe 3 panels. It was one of those spread panels. In the anime, they had the entire animation sequence, and I actually wrote down, oh my gosh, what a really good animation sequence they decided to make here. But in the manga, it was just like, oh yeah, it's a spread page. The dragon is dead. And also because the world of magic was essentially made to be somewhat of an illusion, somewhat not, and that's why the dragon just keeps growing bigger and bigger. So the dragon is an illusion, hence, therefore, it's dead whenever they get rid of it, or whenever Quifree gets rid of it at the end of it. It's one of the most painful mods ever. It's like the first iron tolls you get around 6 hours in. Really? 6 hours in? That's a bit ridiculous. Give me a second while I have my 5-second tea break. Hello, Kaimana. Welcome back, welcome back. Okay, so as we continue, yeah, Auger says that she would be dispelled from the Atelier. Coco is left with the guidance orb and a water siphon. While Coco is practicing flying shoes, Quifree gets the papers approved. Auger confesses that she hates incapable people the most. Coco thinks of drawing magic directly onto her body, but remembers that Quifree has told her that it's forbidden. She says that anyone can draw a spell, but it doesn't mean that you'll be good at it. She thinks back to her time as a craftsman and finds stones to cut cloth with. She then begins to draw on the pieces of cloth that she's cut up and draws a downward arrow sigil on the mast of the sail. With great force, it rips off and she begins to fly using it. Then Quifree returns home to find out that Coco is taking the test and goes to check on her. But as he does so and opens the gates, Coco returns with the Hobe and thus completes the Consent to the Crown trial that Auger had sent her off on. As a gift, Quifree gives Coco her apprentice robes, and then we see a brim hat say, "A seed has been sprouted finally." Let's see. I was actually playing a bit today. You mean of the mod pack that you were creating? Huh? And what mods do you have? Is it like a sci-fi / tech-it mod pack, or what are you trying to create? I got saying that she will be expelled if she fails the test. Like, bro, why do you think Quifree will kick her out when she's this important? Also true. But that's the thing, right? Like, that's the thing. I find it very odd that sometimes people sympathize with Auger because she was so willing to send Coco to her death. She was like, oh yeah, you can take my shoes. I know they're not going to help you do this. Also, it's the highest altitude of the year that we're going to be seeing the summit fly up, which means that if she even were to get onto one of those balls, she would probably fall down and die. Also, it's, she was there for at least a day because we saw her go out there early in the morning and then only arrive late at night, which means that she was out there for at least like 16 hours, I want to say, approximately. I'm not sure what it is, but it was pitch black. It was pitch black as she got back home, and Quifree was like, never do that again. That is messed up. And yeah, that is messed up because, oh my gosh, why did Auger think that that was reasonable to do? People want to sympathize with Auger, but she was really just willing to let Coco die, and also not allow her to complete the challenge and say that, oh yeah, by the way, Quifree actually really doesn't like you and probably wants you to get out of the house. Like, no? What are you talking about? That's not fair. That's also not true whatsoever. So I think eventually she will warm up to her. She already started to. Yeah, but the issue is that, like, people warm up to Auger, like, unreasonably so, because even though Auger is eventually going to warm up and be kind to Coco, I know this to be the case, because of the manga, and it's like what you expect. It is like somewhat of a shonen series. Not really shonen, because it's also made for girls, but it is like for kids or teens in like the 13 to 15 age range, right? It's not really seinen in that sense. In that case, it's expected that she's going to be warming up to her. However, I still find some of the actions of Auger to be absolutely deplorable. Again, she's sending Coco off to her death, knowing that she won't be able to do it, all because she's like, oh, actually, I don't like that you're here. I don't care that your mom died. I don't care that you cast a forbidden spell. I think you should just go back to where you came from. Reminder, Coco has no family anymore. She has nowhere to go to because she was living in the middle of the countryside. People had to use a Pegasus carriage to get to her. There is no village around Coco. So who was meant to take Coco on? Oh, that's right, no one. She'd probably end up starving in the woods and whatnot, you know? Like, I find it insane. What would the explanation possibly be for Auger to believe that, oh yeah, Coco can just go back to where she was, you know? I find it a little bit silly in that case, which is why I don't really sympathize with her. To get the ideal crafting table in Terra Firma, you need copper nuggets and making a clay kiln and stuff. You know how hard it is? I think I've played a little bit of something like that whenever I played through RL Craft, but then also had a, like a Tech-It. I think it was like partly SevTech. I played SevTech, and that one was pretty good, but that was like 8 years ago, something like that. So yeah, I'm aware. I've just never played Terra Firma specifically. But honestly, Quifrey should have done something about Auger. He told Coco to listen to Auger, and then she says, do this really dangerous test, but tells Coco, don't do that ever again. Like, what? Of course it's made for girls. The focus they gave on pretty men gave it away. Yes and yes, but also, like, I don't think Quifrey would have expected one of his best students, because, let's be honest, Auger is one of those, like, teacher's pet types. She most likely wasn't aiming to be a delinquent or whatever, but she didn't get scolded or reprimanded whatsoever. Everyone was fine with Auger after that instance. That seems wild to me. Like, Quifrey says, oh yeah, you should listen to Auger. Wait, Auger told you to basically go do the Wizard's Challenge or the Consent to the Crown on your first day? Mind you, as well, with context, Auger has had magic experience since the day she was born, and let me check how many days of experience Coco has for casting magic. 1? Yeah, 1 day. She's got 1 day of experience with casting magic, and Auger was like, yeah, you don't deserve to be here. I know you just killed your family and you have no one else to go to, but, like, you can't be here, man. I understand it. However, if Quifrey hadn't met Coco on that day, nothing probably would have happened. Right? Because it was only by her interacting with Quifrey and having spied on Quifrey that she finally pieced it together how to use magic. So he is in part responsible for it as well, even if she decided to sneak up on him. And, like, what can she do at this point? She has no one else. I think my mod pack for friends is going to be a creative vanilla ++ mod pack, copy-paste, LMAO, no substance. Yeah, if anything. Actually, Mal, have you ever played Rebirth of the Night? It's an incredibly good mod pack. I really love Rebirth of the Night. Such an amazing mod pack. It's like Minecraft Terraria, and I don't mean that ironically. I mean, like, they've designed most of the mod packs in it to have a progression scale. It's very good. Good for me being a girl then. Yeah, good for you, Kaimana. Good for you. I do like, what's his name? Olruggio. I do really like Olruggio, but I like his manga version more than I like the anime version, because in the manga, or sorry, in the anime, he feels a little bit pretty boy still. I don't like how he's very much of a pretty boy in the anime. What's the name again? Rebirth of the Nights. Rebirth of the Nights is a really good Minecraft mod pack. It's got Terraria-esque progression, so you have random blood moons, you have various monsters to biomes, you have set up bosses that you craft items for and unlock. Whenever you beat a boss, it unlocks more things around the world, and you do have a hard mode and post-hard mode version of Rebirth of the Nights. You have random raids that happen, and you can disable, like, block damage and whatnot. So it is very, very much like Terraria, but in Minecraft, or Minecraft with Terraria elements. It's very good. So, dude, that dude with the beard, gosh, I saw the manga version and it looks pretty good, but in the anime, the beard looks so forced. I think it's just because of the style. It's just because of the style how it works. It was funny how he went tsundere after Coco thanked him for making the glowing stones. He wasn't that tsundere whenever you watch or read the manga. He's more bashful. Ladies, don't start, Kaimana. Don't start, Kaimana. The beard looks goofy. It looks okay. It's just definitely not the style of the anime, for sure. It's a little bit out there comparatively, you know? So I get it, but at the same time, I feel like the manga does a much better job with it. But he was really cute. I'm not gonna say he was cute. I just like Olruggio. Nonetheless, we're continuing. Episode 4. We can begin to discuss a little bit of post-episode synopses later. But for now, the primary tetrad are the 4 elements of earth, wind, and fire. sorry, Earth, Wind, Fire, and Water. I was thinking Earth, Wind, Fire, Water as, do you remember the 21st night? Yeah, so I got that stuck in my head as I was reading that. I really like the art style in the manga because it's so different, and with how different it is, it's kind of reminiscent of, I don't know what, but the manga feels very different to other manga just based off of the art style element. Yeah, right? And also, I really like the spread pages. The spread pages are incredible. Some of them are so good, which is why I was very surprised that whenever we did get to the dragon scene, that they had put in that much effort into animating every single part of it, because it is really well done. As said, even if, like, some of the adaptation parts about what dialogue and character introductions they decided to cut out isn't as much there anymore, I'm still very chuffed with how they decided to go about animating the entire show. Nonetheless, Coco says that she can't return the shoes to Agot because she can't get the lines of the levitation spell correctly. Quiffrey then says that they should go to the magic stationers to pick out a new wand for her. Once in town, Agot says that she has better things to do than play tour guide for Coco. And at the magic stationers, they learn that magic, aka conjuring ink, is made from the blood of silverwood, where they must dissolve it in water after death. Otherwise, it's toxic for both the user and for the environment around it. However, outside the window, the shop, as she gets her wand, Coco spots the brim hat that she met and chases after her. As they chase, they bump into Agot again, and the girls continue running after Coco while she pursues the new brim hat. However, before she can catch up fully, the girls get swept up in the fog and enter a pale white city. There, they find a giant dragon wandering, who then spots them. The brim hat declares Coco's welcome to the world of magic, and that she is their only hope. Quiffrey notices them missing, and the boy assistant at the magic stationer's place says that they chased after someone with a white eyeball for a mask. Tetia then breaks down, saying that she doesn't want to die, that she's yet to leave a single spell for the world. Coco looks on, knowing that she was the reason behind this, and that Tetia is blaming her. Using levitation magic, she flies, in this case Tetia, her clothes as a distraction for the dragon. However, Coco spots a magic circle in the distance and taps Agot's shoulder to inform her. However, tapping Agot's shoulder throws her off balance a bit, and she smudges one of her lines. Agot then snaps, saying how ignorant Coco is, and how she didn't mean to turn her mother into stone, how she didn't make them get lost, and how she didn't mean to ruin her magic circle that she was just drawing, and that it's all an excuse for her incompetence. Quiffrey then speaks to the apprentice, again, as we flash back to him, Tarta, asking if he knows where they went. He then monologues how he wasn't expecting the brim hats to come after Coco so directly. So, yeah, there was a lot of stuff there. Yeah, it's the Harry Potter equivalent to the wand shop. It kind of is, actually. I remember Kaimana telling me about this as well, how she felt like, wait, this is so similar to Harry Potter. And I see it, but at the same time, it's not exactly, right? It's not exactly, because the one main contention that I have to most of the wizards and wands in Harry Potter is that the wands don't do anything. If we're being real, the wands do nothing in Harry Potter. They're there to cast spells, but there are no distinctions between them. There's no, like, significance to whether or not you have a unicorn horn as your base for a wand, or if you're using, like, I don't know, the femur of an axolotl, or the turkey wishbone of something that allows you to cast Avada Kedavra, right? There's no difference between it. It doesn't matter. You could use the legs of a frog, or the tendons of a squirrel, and none of it matters. It's the exact same thing. You're gonna cast the exact same spells in the exact same way with the exact same incantation. The one thing that I appreciate about Witch Hat Atelier is that the reason for why they have unique wands is because, oh, it fits in your hand better. You can use it as different tools in order to, and you get to see this later on. So this is like a minor spoiler, but it's only for world building stuff. You get to see later on that the different wands that they do have are designed to be different because it's meant to match the person, what they're using it for, how they use it, etc. So there is purpose as to why they have the wands in some particular way, or in some given way. So I really like why they do that. I already showed this to Og once, but the special edition manga are extremely beautiful. They're called Grimoire style. Yes, I remember that. I just sent a picture in Discord media channel. I remember the Grimoire editions are very pretty. They look like full tome-bound books, again, like actual grimoires. Remember that your mother is dead, Isaac? Yeah. They don't let it live up. Like, Auger really just decides to bring up Coco's dead mom whenever it's convenient to her. Like, actually, I don't really like how you're talking to me right now, Coco. I think I'm going to allow you to just die. So, maybe you should go perform one of those challenges later on without me here. There are quite a few instances where this seemingly happens. As said, I do not like Auger. But, oh well. Let's see. Yeah, the shop owner too. You mean the shop owner? What do you mean about the shop owner? What do you mean about the shop owner too? Do you mean he looks similar to the one in Harry Potter? Because I don't remember what the one in Harry Potter looks like in Diagon Alley. Or Diagon Alley? I thought it was Diagon Alley. I could be mispronouncing it. Nonetheless, I don't entirely remember how he looked like. On episode 5, which is the second last one before we begin talking about the show overall, Coco apologizes to Tetia, and Tetia apologizes for looking at her like it was Coco's fault, for taking out her fear on her. As they discuss plans, Auger says that this place seems to be a seal, and that's what's keeping them trapped in here. Coco says she saw the casting seal at the top of the tower, which is why she tapped on Auger's shoulder whenever she was drawing the circle, and Tetia comments that the dragon looks bigger now, but Riche says that they might be getting smaller due to space contorting. Coco says that she has a plan to use Tetia's cloud to make her a bed for the dragon, so it would stay here, or stay on the bed rather, instead of attacking them. She says that the only magic that isn't forbidden are the magics that spread joy, hence why this seems like a good alternative. Riche's speciality is drawing a small set of seals, as we quickly learn through a little bit of exposition, and when using the Wall Breaker spell, they can pulverize the walls into a very fine-grained sand. As they spend their time drawing symbols, they see that the dragon has become even more massive. Agot explains that they will use a repetition spell to create a cloud of sand for the dragon to sleep on, and that the sand will try to return to its original shape despite its weight, which essentially forms a cushion. As Quifrey looks through the alley, he realizes that the tiles are drawn on, and he lifts one, but it shoots out a beam, which essentially sends him scattering or running away, because Tarta was also going to be hit by said beam that the Brim Hats had left behind to kind of sabotage, kind of throw them off their trail and whatnot. So, oh well. Where did I pulverize into fine sand from a cushion, shoots out the beam. Okay, inside they find the casting seal once again at the top or around the center of the pillar of the tower, inside this realm that they're trapped in, and as they go to destroy it, the portal opens but the dragon awakens again, I guess presumably due to the sound or the portal opening up. After defeating the dragon with a giant spell by Quifrey using essentially another bigger dragon to chomp down on him, the portal tries to close up and they lose sight of Coco. They ask where Coco is, and turns out she's being held in the arms of one of the Brim Hats. The Brim Hat decides to say that she's given her a gift and hopes that she will use it for what she's meant to, or at least when the day comes that she will use this gift that she's decided to give her. It's very vague. It's very vague, but, you know, it's it's a little bit of foreshadowing in the sense of, well, actually, I think this is my one critique that I'll say. This is my one critique to Witch Hat Atelier. My issue with some of the foreshadowing that's done in this show, or even in the manga and whatnot, is just that, like, the foreshadowing they have is never really hinted upon as a part of a mystery. The foreshadowing that they have is more like, oh, this thing is going to happen in the future. We're going to be really vague, but we're also not going to give you any hints of how this is going to work. You know, like, oh, I bestowed upon a gift onto Coco. But then you also don't get to see what gift. You also don't get to see why. You also don't get to know what. You also don't get to know when. So you don't get any questions answered. You're just like, okay, she's been bestowed a gift. Sure. That's nice. So, like, I get it. But at the same time, I feel like maybe they should have expounded upon that a little bit, because I feel like it would have been way nicer if we could have had a couple more intrigue, or a couple more mysteries so we could build up intrigue. It licked me off stream. Why did it lick you on stream, Kaimana? What a weird thing to say. Everyone, just ignore her. She's apparently being licked by Stream. For whatever reason. Yeah, what are you talking about, Kaimana? I have no clue. Once she wakes up, then Quifrey asks Nolna for one thing, but he says he'll absolutely never tell anyone, or that he should absolutely never tell anyone of anything that's happened here. It's one of the only times that Quifrey becomes as serious as we see him in that scene. It's a pretty cool scene. I like how they depicted Quifrey's rage in the anime. In the manga, he felt very more subdued. He felt more subdued whenever he was expressing rage, which, you know, makes sense given circumstances, which we'll learn about later. But still, I feel like I would still want to see a little bit more of it, which we probably will eventually. I don't know. I might have to reread Witch Hat Atelier if I ever get time, and see how it goes then. Not gonna lie, that scene is cool as heck, especially when the music cut. Yeah, right? It's a very cool way of how they decided to design that entire scene. As said, one of the very, very memorable scenes that they had there. Yeah, I wonder what Quifrey's deal is. You get to learn about... I think you get to learn about it in this season. I hope so, anyway. You get to learn about it in the manga, and it's really good. It's really, really good. It also explains a couple more things that I won't be discussing now, obviously, if the anime eventually gets to it, because the anime actually goes through some of those scenes really quickly. It goes through some of the scenes in the show fairly quickly, so hopefully we eventually get to see some of it, but I'm not entirely sure. On episode 6, this is where we're finally introduced to one of my favorite characters, Olurugio. Or Olurugio. Says Coco shouldn't be here since she cast the forbidden magic. He questions why Quifrey took in an outsider, and also apologizes to Coco since they don't actually have another word for people outside of magic, so they just refer to them as outsiders. Olurugio is a watchful eye, who watches over the smaller ateliers in an area to ensure that nothing bad happens. He's essentially a watchman for a given area or a given section of the world because, well, they need police or someone to report people to police so that some ateliers can't just go completely out of control, right? He makes sure nothing bad happens as a part of that. It's explained that were Coco to be handed over to the Knights of Morales, aka the security police, or the magic security police, they'd erase her memories and even knowledge and thus her love for magic. Quifrey promises that if they were to ever try erase Coco's memories of magic and her love for it, they'd have to erase his too and expel him from the Witch Society. Olurugio says that he must still report this to the Great Hall since that's a part of one of his duties. Well, clearly he wants to hold true to his duties and make sure that he doesn't get fired or whatever it is for whatever it is, right? So, I really like him. He's one of my favorites, just in general. While looking for her brush buddy, Coco is led to Olurugio's room, who uses a pair of rings to dry off the brush buddy and her. Coco exclaims that the glowstone path was the first magic to make her fall in love with magic. Olurugio explains that he was the one to invent it, and Coco thanks him earnestly for it, but he becomes a bit bashful, a little bit tsundere, and throws her out of his room. Back at Quifrey's place, the wind and rain knocks over a bridge, and a man comes knocking on the door asking for help, and that's where the episode ends. It's a little bit of a curious cliffhanger, considering the rest of the episodes, or at least the tone of the previous episodes, but, like, fair enough, I suppose. I just think, like, compared to everything, interesting way that they decided to end it, but those are the synopses for the past 6 episodes. So, question is to you, all of my apprentices, what did you think? How are we feeling about it so far? I tried so hard not to watch the rest, I couldn't hold back. Ugh. Wait, you couldn't hold back? Did you watch more? Did you watch more? Same lol. I'm glad you're all enjoying it, though. Who was it that made the suggestion? Who was it that made the suggestion? Because, thank you for whoever told us to watch/read it again. I was pretty happy about that. I'm pretty chuffed about it all. I tried so hard to hold back. Oh, I thought you were being serious, but you're just citing music. I tried so hard and got so far, but in the end, it doesn't even matter. Oh, it's Homura-san, that's why. Witch Hat Atelier was suggested by Homura-san. So thank you, Homura-san, for suggesting it so that we could all watch it together and to be able to discuss it. Again, it's been ages since I actually read it, So I hardly remember of anything what's going on, but I do remember some of the, excuse me, some of the key plot points, which I'm really, really hoping we get to eventually. So I really do think that Witch Hat Atelier picks up more for me around... Oh wait, I don't even remember the chapters. If I were to try to give the arcs, it would also spoil. Let's just say, like, 2-ish arcs from now, 2-ish or 3-ish arcs from now, it becomes really good. Once Coco gets to the librarian's trial, I think Witch Hat Atelier picks up a whole bunch. For an action show, it is pretty good. That's my take. What do you mean, for an action show? We picked it because it's drama. It's not meant to be action, is it? Wait, my anime list. There, like, are action scenes in it, but it's meant to be a drama, primarily. My anime list, Witch Hat Atelier. And if we check here, it is... oh, wait, it's considered seinen! Actually. Oh my goodness. I didn't know it was considered seinen. I thought it was meant for 13 to 15-year-olds or 13 to 16-year-olds, but it's considered for adults. Huh. Okay. That is curious. I didn't actually know that was the case. Interesting. But who are your favorite characters? Which are your favorite... Who are your favorite characters? Which are your favorite scenes? Yeah, because I bet adult women... No, I think... Well, I mean, Kaimana's a grandma, so I don't know if I can really say wanted the men in that case, you know? The girls wanted them, so... I don't know about that. Wow. Yeah, well, it's true, okay? Kaimana was trying to tell me once that she was older than me, but very clearly not. And if she's older than me, then... Whew, yeesh. Well, seinen doesn't equal adults, really, though. It's just 15 plus with a core audience about 17. Mostly, it's from the editorial perspective. Yes and no. Yes and no, because while it is more so about, like, editorial qualifications and whatnot, it's still, like, the PEGI ratings and whatnot. Like, PEGI 18. And the ESRB ratings that they have for certain things. It's more like the qualifications. I recognize that, but... In essence, it's meant to declare whether or not it's something is targeted towards adults or something is targeted towards, like, later teens or young teen, etc., right? Like, very clearly you have a trend of a majority of manga, anime, etc. that adhere to certain, like... I don't want to call them principles, but I want to call them, like, guidelines as to what they try to do to fit in within the category of things like seinen, so... It's good, but honestly, I really dislike the unseriousness in serious situations, and Coco is a little too goofy and positive sometimes. I 100% get what you mean. I know that this is meant to be serious in terms of, like, oh, I feel really sad that my mom died, oh, I'm really sad that this happened, and it's really bad that there's a dragon attacking, but there are sometimes scenes where it was like, oh yeah, I want to make magic that makes everyone happy, and I want everyone to be living a really nice life, and blah, blah, blah. And I remember the exact quote of, oh, or it's only called forbidden magic because it causes harm to people, therefore any magic that we use that brings happiness is never forbidden, is so cheesy to me. It is very, very cheesy. So there are moments like that where I'm like, okay, that's a little bit unserious. If you were to place kids in front of a dragon, even if they were taught their entire life to not, you know, stand up against or try to kill the dragon, I don't know if drawing the dragon going to sleep on a bed and being given the kindness or the friendliness of magic was anything but naive. I don't know. Even when they did do that, the dragon still woke up and tried to kill them afterwards, right? So... sucks to suck, Coco, but you ended up causing a situation where they'd probably be eaten alive by dragons nonetheless. So, too bad. So sad. Sorry it was a late... Wait. Of course, Kamana loves Agot. Do you see yourself in there? Yeah. Wow. Yeah. I just know Agot will be Coco's best friend. Are you sure? Are you sure? No, I'm actually not mean. It's all fun and games. Are you... Wait, are you serious? You're serious? Yeah, the scene between pink hair and Coco, Tetsuya and Coco, I was hoping for some gut-wrenching drama, and then it just, you know, I know it's not exactly for adults, but still. Well, that's the thing, right? Like, it's qualified as seinen, which means that it should or it could be using elements of, like, seinen and have grown-up conversations about things like this, but yeah, I think my main critique... And I understand. The mangaka can draw and speak of it however she wants. I completely respect it. I still enjoy it nonetheless. However, my issue is that, like, whenever they were forced into having a very difficult conversation, it was just apologize and call it a day. And by that, I mean, like, you could see the fear in Tetsuya's eyes and how she was, like, terrified of being put in a situation by being chased by a dragon and how she was begging for her life. I don't want to die. I've got so much still that I have to do, and I want to be able to spread happiness and magic to everyone. But, like, next moment, she had completely overcome that fear, and now she was more than willing to begin casting magic and, you know, setting up a diversion. She had, and I know this is a little bit mean per se to say, but, like... If you're about to undergo a mental breakdown and then you recover in the next 20 seconds, I feel like that's kind of crazy. That's a really quick recovery. I don't expect anyone to recover from a mental breakdown that fast. I mean, even in Rimworld, we at least take, what, like half an hour or sometimes a couple of days to recover from a panic attack while being chased down by a dragon and then immediately be able to help people. So... oh yeah, how old is Coco again? I think she's around 12 or 13, I think it was. Oh yeah, the whole speech about I want the dragon to be happy was the first time I actually kind of disliked Coco. I think it was just a little too childish. Like, I know she's meant to be 12 or 13, but that feels still too childish and very naive, especially considering that, like, she's learnt about the history of the Brim Hats, that they are people, or... the original magic users used magic to kill people, and, like, now they have to use it for happiness. But, like, a dragon who's actively trying to eat you? I mean, Quifrey wasn't hesitating at all. He was like, oh, actually, I am gonna get rid of this, and decides to use an even bigger dragon on the dragon to eat the dragon and get rid of him. So, I feel like, I don't know. That's a bit odd, how she's so naive about it. But I don't know, maybe that's something that gets to play a little bit of a factor later. I don't mind that stuff, it's relaxing, it doesn't have to be all about killing Disco. I don't think he said it was all about killing or anything like that, because you're all about killing. No, he's not. No, he's not. It's bad writing, probably due to disagreements between the author and the editorial department, but yeah, but 12 years old and seinen is crazy. That's what I'm saying. I think that it's, like, hit the boundaries of exactly what can be considered it, but again, I don't know if it's going to get to some of the arcs that are a bit more dark. And by some of the arcs that are a bit more dark, I would tell you, but literally the names of the arcs spoil what the arcs are about. And you can see it in some of the chapter names for the manga. I feel like, actually, here's a bit of a pet peeve of mine. Anytime a mangaka titles one of the chapters something that spoils what happens, that sucks. Why would you ever read the outline or chapter names in that case? Please just label it as chapter 1 and 2. Stop giving your chapters names to the point where I can read it and have parts of the story be spoiled. It sucks so much. I get so upset about that. I end up just, like, flipping through the opening and everything like that until I get to the first chapter, and I even skip, like, the pretty art page because they write the chapter name there like you're expected to read it. I'm sorry, I don't want to know what happens in the chapter. That's why I'm reading more of it. But this only happens, like, a couple of times. I remember this happening to me whenever I was reading through, like, I guess UQ holder doesn't really matter much, but whenever you read through some of the Fate animes or some of the Fate mangas, and they title some parts of it like, this is exactly what happens, like, encounter with the counterforce, and it's like, oh, why would you tell me that? Why would you tell me the exact thing that's gonna happen this chapter? I'm sorry, that's so lame. Don't do that to me. Oh, is that what happened? I honestly didn't get what happened there. Yeah, so they did kill the dragon and whatnot, and Quifrey does come in to save the day, and there are, again, some dark scenes that are brought up. It's just like Coco makes it a little bit juvenile, you know? And I don't mean that in a bad sense. Like, yes, she is a kid and she's seeing everything from a child's perspective, but Coco, I feel like, encapsulates the childish naivete of the situation, whereas I wish... Rondel, by the way. I wish that we had maybe had Quifrey as the protagonist, because I want to be able to see the dark aspects of Witch Hat Atelier without having to see it from a child's perspective, because she just kind of trivializes it, you know? My Twitch keeps crashing, same. Wait, is it something on my end? Is Twitch working for everyone else? I just want to double check. Is everything fine there? Let's see. Is it same for everyone? No, it's not for me. No, it's not. Okay. It works for me. Okay. I just have to check, because I'm using the Twitch dashboard for Stream Manager, and it's not lagging or anything like that for me. Is the quality fine, maybe? No, it's working fine for me as well. Okay. I just had to make sure. I see that it's fine when I look at the stream settings and stream health on YouTube, so I just needed to make sure that it wasn't something that I was doing. Quality is fine. Okay, quality is also good. Cool. I just had to make sure. But yeah, those are probably my biggest gripes. So it's like the somewhat childishness of it, and I think it would probably do with swapping to a different character as opposed to using a child. I get it. There is a reason why a lot of stories tend to use child characters as a way to convey their story, and it's in large part because using a child character means that you get to experience the world anew with the character and to learn about the world with the character. But I do also think that there are ways of creating mature, like, kids as a protagonist that you can feel is still relatable. Like, even though Natsuki Subaru is only a teenager, he's still very relatable in how just terrifying his whole world is. As well as, like, if you were to compare the boy and girl Shiro and whoever else in No Game No Life, like, when they're transported to a new world and, well, they can end up losing their lives if they lose a game, they're still so confident in what they do that it doesn't matter. Like, in some isekai and in some cases where it's just like fantasy, I would say as well, To Your Eternity does this really well. You follow basically an immortal child who progresses throughout time and becomes stronger and learns more forms and everything like that. And I think he does it, like, he's really relatable in how he learns to develop human emotions. I think that is a really good example. So even if you have a kid, you can still learn about or feel like a character is relatable, even if they are way, 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 way younger, you know? I think I don't like it jumping between gut-wrenching moments to childish too fast, like the Tetsuya and Agot scene was terrible, in a good way, and then goofy next minute. I understand that, and I think that's like one of its drawbacks when it tries to explain things more clearly to maybe kids or a younger audience, even if it has some of the sign-in tags, which I feel is somewhat unfortunate, that because whenever it gets qualified or categorized as something being sign-in, that it's allowed to do more, or it's less restrictive about some of the themes and some of the perspectives that it can talk about. And again, as said, it goes into some of those themes later on, but Coco is still largely, like, goofy later on. I don't know, maybe the anime decides to portray her differently as we get into some of the arcs, but I hope that it's reflected later on, or at least more, because again, I read this way too long ago. I don't remember everything that happens with it. Yeah, it kills the rush. Exactly. I feel like it kills some of the tension that you have in some of the scenes. It's still very good. It's still very good. I still really enjoy it, and the animation is great. But I feel like if I were to give it a recommend it or not, I'd still say recommend, but it takes it down by like a couple notches for me. So that's how I feel anyway. It's also a bit of the point that Coco as a character is technically a narrator, and this is and that is part of the story, similar to what Lucy is in Fairy Tail. She's probably not necessarily meant to be a main character, but the author at this point in the story still needs to learn how to use that device properly. I think so. I can't attest to, like, how much foresight there is, again, because I feel like if there were more foresight to some of the elements that you get to see later on, like, okay, this mystery is brought up and you're given intrigue via use of this and this character, or, oh, we've set up this plot point to be revealed later on because of this, then it would make more sense. but I seldom feel like, and maybe it's because of the portrayal of the anime, that it actually doesn't do that. Like, whenever it showed us Alaria, or whenever it showed us, whatever his name was, Olrugio, and you don't really get to learn what his job is, which you do in the manga. It gives you more exposition, and it gives you more context to why or what it is that he does, and the existence of the magical security society, or whatever it is, the guards that decide to erase people's memories. And then you do have some of the exposition as well with, like, why magic bans any magic on your body. Because speaking of, I think I noticed that in the anime, when it flashes back to Coco saying, oh, I remember Quifrey telling me that you can't draw magic on your body, I actually don't think that was said in the anime. That was mentioned in the manga, but the first time you get to see that isn't by Quifrey, it's by Coco remembering Quifrey saying it. So I guess they removed that scene, which is curious. I mean, it's fine, maybe, but still, I feel like it's no, and I think in the anime Quifrey said it. Are you sure? I could be wrong, but I don't remember where Quifrey said you're not allowed to draw magic on your body. I just remember that there's a flashback scene of Quifrey saying it, but you don't actually get the first scene of Quifrey saying it. You know what I mean? But I like the fluffy scene regardless. It was cute. It's cute, but it just breaks things up, you know? You mean when Tetsuya made it the first time? Yeah. Yeah. Yes. Yeah, I mean, if you want to experience the story closer to what the author envisioned, you need to read the manga or the light novel if it exists. Manga somewhat have rigid story guidelines already. I would have to double check. I think it only exists as manga. Witch Hat Atelier light novel, question mark? Does it exist? I don't think this is... No, I think this is all still manga. Oh, wait, no. Novelization? Is that... Oh, no, okay, the light novel is secondary to the manga. So, yeah, okay. It is manga first, and then it's anime, and then technically it's light novel, which is quite curious. It is quite curious how they managed to do that. I think it was good, but I don't enjoy the time. I didn't enjoy it at the time because I still had whiplash from the from the change of serious to goofy. Huh? I agree, Mickey. True. I think it's a little bit jarring whenever it goes out of it. Again, because, like, Tetsuya was going to have an argument with Coco. Coco is finally, like, lamenting on her decisions of how, oh gosh, I've actually brought in everyone into my mess, and now, because of me, everything is kind of going wrong. And I think that's good reflection to have, but then Coco is like, oh, actually, let me talk to Tetsuya. Tetsuya's just like, nah, it's okay. I apologize. That was my fault. And then Coco's like, oh, okay. So I do feel like and think that there are... I guess if you combine those two words, it would be think, which is what I was accidentally going to say. I do think that whenever you combine the elements of it swapping between those 2 points so fast and the lack of somewhat self-reflection in some of those scenes, it is a little bit strange, right? So then you add the danger of anime directors, who in recent times 90% of the time destroys series, in my opinion. I feel like fantasy anime gets really the short end of the stick. Very often is it like... you see a whole bunch of fantasy anime coming out, and then something happens to the point where it's like, oh, well, that didn't go quite right, did it? No, it didn't. It caused a couple of issues, actually. So, I don't know how to feel whenever a fantasy anime is going to be released, because sometimes it just goes wrong, sometimes it goes really well, but seldom does it actually go really well. I think, Exiled Hero, or whatever it was called, was really good. One of the very few anime that got such an amazing anime rendition. Which, by the way, no healing magic is dumb. Wait, I think it was good, but I didn't enjoy it at the time. I think you guys said it, which, by the way, no healing magic is so dumb. I don't want to tell you. I don't want to tell you anything on this. I'm going to skip that. Yeah, I would very much prefer it for it to be cute once in a while, and then it becomes serious and stays serious. I want to feel the anxiety and the feelings, and both be separate. I agree. I think that they swap between it too quickly, and that's what causes a majority of the issues. Like, had they swapped it out, or worked it like that, maybe they swapped some of the comedy and humor for gaps of it, because this is one of the things I noticed as well while writing down all of my notes, is that I had moments of, like, not having anything to write, and then having a lot of things to write, and then nothing to write, and then a lot of things to write. It felt like it would bounce between being very substantive and then not having much to speak on that part, and it was like just cutesy things that they were doing. I get it. They want to show the daily lives of the witches and what they're doing, but I still feel like they should, nonetheless, stay serious when they're serious. Yeah, like I said, with so much fantasy and isekai going around, they often get the bad directors who, when you compare to anime or manga or inversion, seem to actively destroy good stories, then make them better, or at least stay true to the source. It's a little bit of a combination, right? Like, the beginning after the end got destroyed, essentially. I've seen how that one turned out, and that one didn't really work out that well. And then there have been a couple of instances. I feel like maybe it's just because the industry is super pressured right now, but there are more than a couple of instances where even if not anime, or sorry, if not fantasy, that just the anime adaptation in general tends to, for whatever reason, fall behind or fall short of what it was expected to do, which I think is, as said, unfortunate, because I wish for every single anime to be good, because why would you not want more good media? Coco should have asked if there's a reason for healing being forbidden, or Quifrey should have said it, unless the author is preparing for a plot where Coco decides to use it but something bad happens with it. I won't spoil, but you will learn about why healing magic doesn't exist. So that is explained. That is explained later on. And there are, again, more arcs where I feel like they more aptly wrap up some of the more serious arcs slash characters slash scenarios. Like, I don't know how to describe this without kind of spoiling. So I'm going to try avert myself from spoiling as much as possible, but just keep in mind that, yes, they do have instances where they completely go over the reasons for why some of these things are really bad. At least in the manga, they have a couple of instances, and this is why I was concerned or noticed immediately, like, wait, I don't remember Quifrey ever telling Coco to not draw magic on her body. And then the first time you get to see it was actually a flashback. Because that is a really important point, and you get to learn more of the Brim Hat's motivations through the manga, which I know, I feel like it's, oh, well, that's a little bit self-evident, isn't it? Where the manga can go over more points than the anime does, but at the same time, because you've got a visual medium, like, you should expect that you can get through so many more of the action panels and everything like that because it's an anime. Like, you can have so much more dialogue because it's an anime, since you can talk basically all the time. I know that people want to pace it out and whatnot, but maybe it's just because I'm too talky or too talkative in general, but I really feel like maybe there should be more serious dialogue that you could use it. But I think he did say it when the two of them walked down the stairs after Coco first arrived. Okay, now I'm gonna double check. Maybe I just, like, completely missed it. Let's see. Quifrey. Telling Coco to not draw magic on her body. It should have been in, like, the second-ish episode or something like that. Let's see. Which episode did he say it, or was it only the flashback? Let's see if Gemini can answer this. If it can't. Oh, okay, maybe he does. Present day lesson in episode 2 brings to the Atelier. He explicitly lays out the foundation of magic. Okay. Okay, yeah, he does say it, apparently. I would have to double check, but yeah, maybe that's my bad for not picking up on it or not realizing that that was the case. My theory is that the masked witches, you mean the Brim Hats, are actually not bad. They try to teach Coco and everyone to use magic, or that they can use magic, and that healing is not bad, and that the scary thing like dragons don't have to be dealt with violently. I don't want to spoil anything for you, Kaimana, but I'm sorry for what you'll see later. If the anime gets into it, I'm sorry for what you'll have to see later. Jeez, Twitch is so annoying today. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry, Kaimana, that your Twitch is sucking so bad. But yeah, the Brim Hats, as said, Kaimana, they kind of go in a little bit of exposition about the Brim Hats, but the Brim Hats are the people who still use magic for violence and war. So you know, Kaimana. You dismiss my theories so fast every time. Yeah? Well, you have to keep in mind that, yeah, because some of them aren't really close. Hey, Auger. Hey, chat. Hope y'all are well. Bro is playing Peggle. Is this Peggle? No. Hello, Dragon the Dojo Mama, or No Change in Japan. We are playing a little bit of Peglin today. Peglin is the name of the game. So, it's a Peggle-inspired roguelike where you, well, obviously have the same thing, but you buy new balls and whatnot to shoot at pegs with. So I'm playing the Rondel right now, which is the scoundrel, but with a ball pun or whatever. And wow, this is what it looks like. It's very cute, isn't it? And it does a little crossed fingers icon whenever you shoot the ball. So it plays like Peglin, but you don't have the combo meter fever or a certain amount of pegs that you have to hit. You just deal a certain amount of damage whenever you hit pegs, and then you try to hit as many pegs as possible and you deal damage based off of it. So it's raining. Kind of want to go take a walk now. Wait, you shoot pegs? You shoot at pegs. Like you shoot pegs like you shoot them. You shoot them with the ball and everything like that. I'm not meaning that you shoot literal pegs. So go with headphones. I mean, there's not too much left, is there? We're still enjoying our time, but I'm gonna begin booting up Rimworld in the background, and then we'll do that for like the last 20 to 30 minutes approximately. So let me do that right now, and I'll just continue this run in the meanwhile while Rimworld boots up. There was one more thing, automod. Wait, what? You were automodded, Mr. Brown? Chop chop. You have to chop. What was that automod thing? OMG, I forgot that we No, don't put it like that. Don't put it like that. And yes, we do play Rimworld on Sundays as well. We try to get a little bit of our progress done on Sundays because I try to dole out punishments on Sundays. However, you're all lucky this time. You're all lucky this time. There are no strikes to be doled out today, which means that I have nothing to give you punishments for. I just repeated what you said. You might have repeated what I said, but you put it in a way that made me sound suspicious without any of the context. Oh, and it got modded? Wait, now I need to check. I don't think Mr. Brown is here. So, oh. That's what you said. Yeah, you might have repeated what I said, but you took out all the context. I see exactly why you got auto-modded there, Helios. No. I don't think I will allow that to go through auto-mod. How dare you. So, as soon as Rimworld boots up, then we'll swap to that. But overall, I enjoy Witch Hat Atelier. I think one thing as well is that some of the allegories or some of the things that they discuss in Witch Hat Atelier reminds me of how they're done in Shinsekai Yori. So, I'm just trolling. Yeah, no worries. I'm just teasing you as well. Don't worry. I'm a little bit funny as well. I like to take things overly serious, even though I'm not a serious person whatsoever. So, don't mind. Don't mind. I think that it attributes itself similarly to Shinsekai Yori, because if you don't remember, they also had a bit of a caste system there too. Did someone watch my sales pitch for Grand Blue, by the way? I did. I liked it, but I'm also a massive fan of Mob Psycho 100, so I think if I could vote for my own, then I would vote for my own, but I'll have to see which one I end up voting for. Don't forget, and I said this at the beginning of the stream, do not forget that today is the last day that you should submit any suggestions. Please suggest your comedy suggestions for an anime before the end of the stream. We're going to be opening up the votes by today, or at least the end of the stream. So, I gotta go now. I want to try sleeping a bit early after the tiny bit of gaming and prepare for tomorrow work. So, see y'all tomorrow. Take care, Mr. Brown. Bye-bye. Bye-bye, Mr. Brown. Sleep well, and I hope you have a wonderful rest of your, or wonderful start of your week, actually. I suppose you're starting your week, so yeah. I hope you have a wonderful start of your week, in that case. But yes. Oh! Wait. Where is it? Oh, no. I thought Rimworld had opened up. It hasn't. I was like, how's it possible? It's only been like a minute since I opened it up, but no, it's still not open. Despite having this NASA PC or whatever, it's still not ready for me. Still not ready. You know, a part of me feels like, man, if I invested this much in this PC, maybe I should have gone even more all out with it, but who knows? Maybe next year I'll get even more of a buff PC just because I can. I love building computers. I love technology. As a wizard, getting into technology is new to me, you know? It's quite a different experience. If you've been working with magic for your entire life to swap over to technology, it reminds me, but thankfully it's not like Arcanum. I don't know how many of you are familiar with Arcanum. It's a very old game, but in Arcanum, the more you use magic, the less compatible you are with technology, and the more you use technology, the less compatible you are with magic. So whenever you try to cast a spell, if you use a lot of technology, the spell would go haywire and like break things, but also the more you use magic, it would begin to break your technology. So yeah, it's a pretty cool game. I really like the idea of it, but then again, I would be so sad if my orb couldn't connect to the ley line and therefore your internet, so I probably wouldn't be able to stream if both magic, or if I could only use magic or I could only use technology. I have to have a bit of both. That's the issue. When did I hit 115 streams? I don't know, 115 streams ago you started counting, didn't you? Probably makes sense. Next upgrade for me would be a RAM upgrade and a better GPU upgrade maybe. What's your RAM currently in that case, and what GPU do you have? I've been thinking to myself that if I wanted to run more server processing stuff for all of my setups, then I would likely have to get more... VRAM. And then maybe I would set up some kind of like industry setup. I have 64 gigs. That sounds fine then, but I don't know, maybe you're running out too fast. Technically, I have 64 spread across my my two machines that I use for... But then again, I have divvied it up. One is recording, one is streaming, and I run them separately. So I do also have an application to like swap between a KVM switch so that I can use my same set of keyboard and mouse so I can use my two machines at the same time. Which means that like while I don't have 64 gigabytes, I do have 32 between both systems. So, and a Radeon 9060 XT with 16 gigabytes. That's pretty good. That's pretty good then. I put my suggestions, but I can't choose between the two. Oh, which ones did you put? Actually, I should read out the suggestions that we have currently. Oh, you want Konosuba or Chunbyo. Ah, I see. I have to admit, and I think I mentioned this early on as well, I wasn't a big fan of Konosuba. Believe it or not, I was not a big fan of Konosuba, but I don't know, maybe if I watch it again, I would have to give it a try. However, as you can see, I've swapped to the title screen, which means you know what's coming. You know what's coming. Well, it's because I'm starting orchestral composition as a hobby, and the DAW, the digital audio workspace with plugins, and a 3-digit number of tracks is very Oh my gosh. 3-digit so you're in the hundreds of tracks and everything? Goodness gracious. So 64 might genuinely not be enough. Yeah, that makes sense. Whenever you're working with workstation related stuff, I completely get you there. I was trying to oh my gosh, when I was trying to unify my RAM and my storage and everything, like technically it works right now, which is not half bad. I've got 3 terabytes on one machine of storage and then 3 terabytes of storage on my other machine. I've technically unified them so I can access all of my Linux machine files from my Windows PC and all of my Windows machine files from my Linux PC, which is pretty cool. It took a lot of time to set that up, and it works natively, but yeah, the efforts and the amount of pain that you have to go through to set some of these things up, it's not fun. It's not fun. There's so many incompatibilities. And then, like, you pick a distro, and you're like, oh, wait, this doesn't work with this, and for whatever reason, this doesn't work with this. It's like, oh my gosh. So, and now we're in the game. By the way, now we're in the game. So it's probably RAM, then storage. GPU's not that important. I use a lot of VRAM. And as well, playing a lot of games while streaming and so on takes up a lot of VRAM as well. Even if I've swapped it over or I've divided it between multiple PCs, it still takes a lot. So technically my second PC only has 8 gigabytes of VRAM and my current one is 16 gigabytes of VRAM, which means that I try to render things between the two. But whenever I'm working on like my big video projects or whenever I'm loaded, because I'm a bit sloppy, okay? Even though my videos aren't very long, I have like 3 hours on a single DaVinci Resolve timeline because I take in like 1 or 2 VODs and then I edit it all in one go and then I split it up and work with that. So yeah, it becomes a little bit cluttered, and therefore it tends to cause some issues with the amount of VRAM that I do need for it. If you've never tried it, I recommend you do. Wait, I use CachyOS. I've not used CachyOS before. I've used I think a sub-distro of Fedora, and I've used Ubuntu. I've used a lot, actually, but I'm like blanking right now that I've been put on the spot. Auger. Yes? What's your suggestion, Kaimana? What's up? What is your suggestion? Also, I just realized that the chat is a little bit too high above me. We should move it there. That looks better. Like right above my hat? I think so. I've tried to move myself. Evil is what it's gonna be. It's probably gonna be evil. We changed the owners of the pawns. Swap owners. Okay. 1, why? 2, who? 3, for what? And not ruin them on purpose? But why? Is the question, Kaimana. Why would you want to do that? Just play normally? Well, but why? I need those 3 questions answered because we need more challenges. I feel like that's a really difficult way of going about adding challenge to the game. And also, I would have thought that D6 would have shown up by now. He usually shows up around the time that I begin my my Rimworld portion of the stream. So, we'll have to see then and there. Okay. Sorry, I'm just checking if I have any strikes. Do we have enough time today to do the Vamp Quest, Auger, or do we do it Tuesday? We would have to do it today. Because we've got the Bloodthirsty ship here. We've only got 2 days left to do it. Or get a really hard enemy or something like an anime level. You want... This is why I was saying that we could have used one of your characters, Kaimana, as like... an evil faction, maybe? I'm wondering, how would I introduce, like, a supervillain in Rimworld? I wonder how we can go about this. Maybe I can, like, create a custom pawn, and then have him... Okay, actually, can I be the supervillain if I get stronger? No. I've got a very good idea. You know what? This is a very good idea, Kaimana. Thank you. I'm going to write this down. Go into my notes. Create a supervillain. Make a supervillain and call it Kaya? No, I won't do that. I'm also not going to call it Kaimana. I'm not going to call it any variant of Kai. I'm not going to call it any variant of someone in chat. I'm not going to call it Disco. I'm not going to call it Helios or Maladaptive. I'm going to make a supervillain. That's what I'm going to do. So, call it Rondel. I was actually thinking of that. I was thinking of maybe making an evil villain called Rondel, and then having him cruise around the world with his own faction. So, Jazz Enderman. No. I can't do that. I'm not going to have it be based off of any variant of that. Another pig? What do you mean another pig? Excuse me? Weren't you going to read all the suggestions so far? Oh, yes, I can do that. Thank you for reminding me. So, for some of the suggestions that we have for comedy anime, we have got Bocce the Rock. We've got Grand Blue. We've got Mob Psycho. We've got My Dear Friend Nokotan. And then we have Kaimana, who has yet to decide between Konosuba or Chunbyo. So, once she's decided... And Kaimana, you have to decide on that, like, before the end of stream. Otherwise, I don't know which to count. I'll probably count Konosuba or I'll count Chunbyo, but you have to decide. Help me decide then? Okay, Chunbyo. Mob Psycho and Bocce the Rock are my top choices for now. I love Mob Psycho. Mob Psycho unironically makes me want to cry because of how much I love it. Not like in a slobbering, snotty tears, completely red in the face, baby cry, wailing or anything like that, but I mean like the way Mob Psycho portrays itself and the music and how it's all about learning to accept oneself as well as learning to deal with not being special or being special. and to attain one's hopes and dreams while trying to fit in and living a normal life. I really love it. I really, really, really love it. Never seen Chunbyo seem half of Konosuba, but couldn't finish it. Then Chuni it is. I think Chuni would be fun. So no one thought to put the second and third best comedy anime ever. Where is Asobi Asabase and Saiki K? I figured that most of us had already seen it, so I didn't bother. I've seen Asobi Asabase so many times, and Saiki K on board. What? Saiki K is also really good. I love Saiki K. They're both some of the best ones, genuinely. Asobi Asabase, super duper funny. Saiki K, super duper funny. Mob Psycho, I just really love because it's both comedy and it has a lot to say, which is why I enjoy it. It's like really good in terms of comedy for how it goes about that. Also, Saiki K has peak Gyaru. I agree. Teruhashi, I did not care for, but when that Gyaru character was introduced, I was like, oh my gosh, based? So I don't want to watch it again. Oh, okay, because you've watched it so many times. That's fair then, Kaimana. I thought that you were meaning it was boring. I thought you said, because you said, I've seen Asobi Asabase so many times, also, like, Saiki K I'm bored of. And that's why I was like, how dare you say that Saiki K is boring? It's very good. Then you need to see Grand Blue. It's even better. I don't believe... Are you saying for Gyaru? Or are you meaning my opinions on Mob Psycho? Because I don't know if I would qualify something higher than Mob Psycho. Mob Psycho to me is like a masterpiece. And I know that sounds hyperbolic, but it's genuinely stupidly good. Like, it has some of the best characters. I think Reigen is one of the best portrayed characters in anime. He's so charismatic. Genuinely one of the most like standout characters I've seen or watched. So no, I'm saying it's the best pure comedy anime. I'm on a crusade here. Okay. Reigen, yeah, Reigen. Oh my gosh, and the fact like when his theme song comes on, it's just instantly recognizable. I love Reigen. Such an amazing character. Genuinely, there are very few characters who come off as charismatic. I think, like, if I were to make a list of very charismatic characters, I would probably put, like, Jonathan Joestar, because I really like the second season of JoJo's Bizarre Adventure a whole lot. I would put Reigen, and then I would maybe have, like, Aizen somewhere in there. As for other charismatic characters... Maybe I'd put the... No, never mind. I would say he's more psychologically smart. I was going to say the main character for one-outs. Who would be charismatic? That's a very difficult question that I just asked myself, that I'm then stun-locking myself on. Whatever. I'll come back to it another day. What initially got me really into anime was Rosario Vampire, as weird as that may be. I think I've already told the story here. Yeah, I think you have, because we were talking about it sometime a while ago. Like, actually, a long while ago. Months ago. Jeez, yeah. And we were discussing about the manga/anime differences, and that's when we began to have the discussion about having an anime-manga club so that we could begin discussing shows and series and whatnot that we had all watched together. So yeah, I remember parts of that. Sorry, just taking a tea break. Okay. We should probably... Oh yeah, you'll still need to read the manga, right? Yeah, for Rosario X Vampire. I've just had, like, no time. I think if I ever become super duper epically amazingly popular with a gorillion subscribers and whatnot, and I can finally take a break from, like, making videos at some point, like, I don't know, I want to be able to finally have enough time to create an entire backlog of videos. I still also need to make a backlog of videos way far into the future for if I take a break or anything like that, because at most I'll take like a month, but I'll always be back. In that case, I really want to be able to have time so that I can just sit down, edit like 50 shorts or something, put out a whole bunch of shorts, and then have time to myself to be able to do some, like, reading, some gaming, etc., you know? So, level skill melee? What? Level skill name? Yeah, you don't type equals. You added the equals. You have to have a space. There we go. Increase skill. Also, it's kind of confusing, but your last name is Disco Enderman, which is a bit funny. Disco Enderman, or Kaimana Disco Enderman. Huh. Very curious. Also, you could just go hunting if you wanted to. Apparently, your mining is nearly level 20. You're a planet-known master. They got married, no? Yeah, they're married. Kaimana and Disco are married, that's why. I want... What do you want? What do you want? He's still a spider, by the way. He can't have kids because he's still a spider. Yeah, I didn't want mining. Yeah, but you can also shuffle it around. I want hunting. You can set your priority. If you set your priority for hunting, then you can do that. All right, I need to buy it for 6,000 mana. Yep. You do. If you want to save your genome, that is, Disco. Like, again, as said, we can just give you a new one. The only difference would be that you wouldn't have black skin. You wouldn't have ink black skin instead. You would have, well, whatever else, I think. Wait, let's check. What skin colors do we have? We have, deep red, deep blue. How do we have 3 deep reds? Pale reds and orange. And then pale yellow. You can pick some of those. Oh, we have deep blue. Yeah, we do. I don't know why you want to spend 6,000 mana for 2 divine interventions to save your current genome and then apply it again later. So... again, I think it would be way cheaper if you just decided to swap your current genes into something else that doesn't have a spider, or you decide to remove it. So, yeah, this is like hacking. So, yeah, because in the first place, like, I'm using cheats to give you all of these things. I'm allowing you guys to use cheats. Can we wait with anti-spidering Disco until after the vampire quest? Yeah, because we need to finish the vampire quest in 1 day. So let's actually get everyone ready. And yeah, it's going to be difficult. I think it's going to be very difficult. I'm going to get everyone outside. I'm going to place D6 over here. I just worry where they're going to land. I'm very worried where they're going to land. Vampire first, and then I'll get Gregnant 98 more times, so don't think of becoming Spidey again. Oh my gosh. You just don't want him to live his own life. I'm going to have everyone come outside to fight for this. Spearfree will also. I think Spearfree will also. He's got 10 skill for this. I'll let Ruria do her own thing. Electra will also join. Pigeon doesn't even have enough in anything to be able to help out, unfortunately. Mal will also join. Mosey will also join. And Okami will do his own thing. Where are Ediko and Hollow? You've got Yuki here, but we took them off, remember, from being drafted. So we've got Ediko here. We can change that to follow when drafted. So here we go. Then we can go to Hollow. And Hollow will also be follow when drafted. Actually, leave Hollow. I don't think she's strong enough. Okay. Never mind then. For Ediko, I'm not sure. I mean, she's probably really strong anyway. Kaimana, I don't know how to explain it, but I really, really want to have control of my pawn. Fine, I'll settle for 50 kids, so 48 kids. My goodness. What if she gets another heart attack while she fights? Well, I couldn't say. I couldn't say. But, do we think we're ready? I think this looks about fine. Man, I guess I'll have to be saving on mana a lot. Yeah, Kaimana's really putting you through the ringer here just so that you're able to afford all of these different things. Also, let's build some more circuits and whatnot so that this connects up like there. Basically, one kid costs 3,000 to remove, then do it again. Pretty much. Pretty much. Also, let's make sure Brown doesn't eat all the vampires. I think he should be fine. He's not going to eat the corpse automatically. He just, like, bites off their arm. But they regenerate, at least. But you better not sell any of my genes again. We were making space for more genes, okay? I sold it off because we needed more. And also, I sold it off once I knew we had another spider body. So it's not like I'm trying to sell yours intentionally. That's why I'm saying stay on non-Spidey. Well, I don't think you can stop him. But let's accept the bloodthirsty ship. Once the ship is crashed, you'll find the Sanguinophage and their minions. Where are they going to crash? Crash shuttle. Jump to location. Okay, they're going to land over there. So let's get all of you to go around here. I'm going to have you go down the south and then go to the west. Because they're going to land This might not be difficult. I don't think they spawned with any classes. Okay, we might be good. Oh, never mind. There it is. Enemy Thrall, enemy Sanguinophage, enemy Thrall, Thrall. Threats, not treats. Yeah, my threat to all got caught by the mod nets. Seems like it. Why did that? Okay, that's really evil to Solstice's Dryads. That is messed up. They just immediately begin opening fire. I'm underage. What? Can I still get Gregnant? You can still get Gregnant. You're not underage. I don't know what you're talking about, Kamana. You're still, like, 18. Technically, in Rimworld, you can get... Wait. I don't know from what age you can get pregnant. It says 17. Wait, does it? Oh, you are. I guess you've been reducing your age over time somehow? I'm not really sure how. At 15? Yeah, see, there we go. You can get Gregnant at 15. So... Here we go. Also, stop shooting our Dryads! Oh my gosh. Okay, I'm gonna make Disco jump over here. Get rid of them. And then I'm gonna do Shadow Strike on him. Then, where's D6? D6? Oh, he's all the way over here. Never mind, I'm gonna do this. We forgot to stop reverse time? No, it's just that you've been casting or something. Look, it's not automatic. It's not automatic. It's just that you've been casting it on yourself or something. Here we go. And you will continue attacking. Mr. Brown is going to continue attack. Oh, you're all on search and destroy already. Okay, here we go. Virgil will have you do Spirit Wolves, and we'll put it over here. Who was the Sanguinophage? Here it is. Bunny. Bunny is the Sanguinophage. So we're going to get rid of them. Kaimana, you're going to go attack as well. Helios, you can jump over. And I'm worried that you'll accidentally, like, murder someone, you know? You'll jump there. Do that. Attack. Kaimana's attacking. Electra's attacking. Spearfree will also attack. Virgil is attacking. Mosey should attack. And Mal should also attack. Hello, Solstix! Welcome! How are you? How are you? Here we go. Disco is currently executing someone. Some of your Dryads, they seem fine. They seem fine. They've taken a bit of damage, which is unfortunate. I don't know why these guys immediately open up fire on the Dryads instead of anything else. Okay. Bunny is trying to flee. Okay, here we go. Bleeding out, but I think that just means that she enters Death Rest. Yes, she's deathless, so that should be fine. So we're going to get... Actually, we're going to get Disco to summon over here. We're going to get Disco to summon Solstix over here. Shadow Call. And there we go. Solstix, you're going to capture Bunny. And hopefully Bunny doesn't... I know they're deathless still, but like I don't want Bunny to go into complete death rest and then we're poop out of luck, you know? So we're going to capture and begin tending to immediately. Disco has disabled them. Psychic drone high. Oh my gosh. The drone level is high. Oh man. Okay, here we go. Let's tend to without medicine so that they don't lose all of their blood and hemogen. We're going to also set them to minimum hemogen, so we just do not give them any hemogen. Is this the vampire quest? Yep. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. Okay. Now everyone here is perfectly fine. Let's get rid of you all. Disco, you're also fine now. And then Virgil is fine. D6 is fine. Here we go. And then now we've got Solstix tending to the vampire. And then we can do Force Xenogerm Implantation. So, Helios, I'm not sure how you want to go about this, but you will do a Forced Xenogerm Implantation, and it will overwrite your current Xenogenes. So, if you want to, you've got a couple of things you can do here. You can try to make your Xenogenes... You can get this implanted, then make it into endogenes, and once they're endogenes, then you can implant your new Xenogenes to replace some of the bad traits or make yourself better and change it like that. Or you make your current desired traits endogenes, and then you get the sanguinophage genes on top of that. I'm not sure which you prefer. Both of them are, like, about the same. It just depends on which ones you're going to change more. In which case, I think you probably want the... How do I make something endogenes? I think there's integrator. Yeah, we've got a gene integrator. So, it turns all xenogenes into endogenes. I'll make vampire endo then? Okay. Yeah, that's about it. My Dryad's bleeding out all over the place while Kaimana's singing. Yeah, she's singing a serenade. Is this some ritual? Yeah, it kind of is, actually. You're currently performing surgery on a vampire while Kaimana sings and hymns and Dryads stand around you. Should I make my spider endo? You could, actually. But then you would still need to get rid of it eventually if you want to have kids with Kaimana. So, here we go. And now you should tend to your Dryad that's currently bleeding out. So please tend to your Dryad. There we go. Wow. Look at her. She's like, oh, wow, you are taking care of me. Wow. Here we go. The stuff I have currently is only because I wasn't a vampire yet. That makes sense. Oh, thrall reinforcements. Wait, they're landing inside the biolab. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Okay. Why did they have to land in here? Oh my gosh. What an annoying spot to be in, genuinely. Okay. I'm just wondering what I can do to not destroy any of our gene packs and also deal the most amount of damage. I'm thinking that we try to get D6 in here and just stun them as well. We could... Okay, send them over here. Anyone else? Anyone else that can do something? I guess Ruria could attack, but she's got such little HP because she's still a kid, technically. Okay. Helios, you're on your way. Solstix is over there tending, so we'll bring him over here just in case. Or, well, he can do his own thing. You can always shadow call him. Helios, D6, Virgil. Virgil can do his spirit wolves again, so I'm going to have him run inside this building. Oh, it's only thralls, right? Yeah, but they usually show up with machine guns and stuff like that. So we're going to do that. Oh! Uh-oh. Wait, what is this? A red mage, really? Oh my gosh. Let Yuki help? They should already be auto-drafted, so we can do attack animals, search and destroy. Can I set these two? No. Okay, I can't. We're going to have Disco decide to poison people, please. Like so. Okay, very nice. Oh my gosh, they're like actually coming in here to just destroy everything. This is so dumb. This is genuinely so dumb. Mosey, get out of here. Get rid of him. Disco is running around the side because he keeps trying to destroy one of the gene processors. However, I can also see this guy, just boy, trying to destroy stuff here. So, bye-bye. Execute him. Mr. Brown, take care of this guy. Lasso him. There we go. Nice. Run away, Mr. President, run away! Here we go. You know what? You suck. Eat him. Here we go. And then... Yeah, I think that should be fine. Well, some of the spirit wolves, just because we can. So if any one of them wake up, they get mauled by the spirit wolves. And, you know, I think that's it, actually. You can all return back to what you were doing. Now you just need to fix this inside of the house because it's currently raining and destroying our gene banks because of the rain. Look, the wolves are cleaning as well. Virgil just spawned in a whole bunch of wolves to do cleaning for us. Nice. Why? Why is that the case? Oh, let me clean up this spot for you, sir. Oh, my job here is done. They're like a lame form of Me 6s, or the white girl's version of Me 6s. Hopefully here we can just repair all our stuff. So none of the things were destroyed whatsoever. Wow, so useful, right? Not an issue whatsoever. And now I need to just permit everyone to do whatever they want. So orders, allow. Whatever. You have me drafted, but it looks like I'm just playing my guitar. That's basically what you're doing. You just strum a couple of tunes and you terrify them as much as possible. I forgot that Kaimana had teleportation. Oh wait, Kaimana, you have incorporates. Wait, I completely forgot. Kaimana, do you want to steal some of the genes from the dead bodies? Do you want to steal something? Wait, we can check. Do we have any dead bodies around here? Let's see. Show me. That one doesn't have anything. Oh, wait, they have mana potions. Actually, I'm gonna get you, Solsticks, to beat up this fire here. Because we can get those mana potions. Do we have any bodies? Wait. Body. Does that just work? No. Okay. Because we would have had a whole bunch of bodies in here, but we've still yet to cremate all of those. As soon as... Wait, this one's dead as well. This one's dead. Oh, corpse... Oh, wait, dead. I think I need to type dead, and that works. Baseliner. No, never mind. Dead? Yeah, here we go. Okay, so... Digger, escapee, janitor, medic, minstrel... Oh, wait, can you take from these? Wait, oh my gosh. I think you can take from these. For whatever reason, it might allow you to take from these Kaimana. From the demons that we have prior. So, if you want to, you can get rid of this demon. Do you want to try to take from a Hellguard? I'm worried of what it might give you, though, Kaimana, is the issue. Because, again, it's going to add to, Wait, let's see. How does this work? Incorporate. Carriers of this gene possess the ability to steal genes from a corpse. The carrier will be given a choice of at least 4 possible options. Some traits can be turned into genes. If the metabolism gets too low, the traits will be removed until it is okay again. Okay, you've got -2, so that might be fine. That might be fine. Detonation is what Kaimana will get? Probably not. I don't think she'll get detonation. Let's use it on this one. We'll use it on one of this demon over here. We've got no other purpose to these corpses, so actually you're doing us a really big favor getting rid of bodies now, Kaimana. It's going to give us 4 choices, and then you just tell me whichever one that you want me to get rid of, or want you to have. We're going to get rid of this guy, because he's going to blow up and destroy this entire place. So, bye-bye. Stop doing that. Of course. He blew up. Oh, okay, if I can choose it. Yeah, it gives you a selection of 4, and you get to choose 1 gene that you want to steal. So, visitors now? A group from Kinship of Bonzo. Hello, Kinship of Bonzo. And let's check. You probably don't have any delay right now on... Oh, wait, no, your genes are regrowing. So if I ordered your genes to regrow now... Helios. Would that kill you? Force this person to implant xenogenes into another individual using a special injector organ. If this person's genes are currently regrowing, they will die in the process. When implanted, a xenogerm will overwrite the target xenogenes. Germline genes are unaffected. Okay. So we can do it now, Helios, if you want to. Do you want to become a vampire now? Or do you want to wait whatsoever? Like, is there any reason you would want to wait or don't want to wait or something like that, perhaps? Also, I'm wondering if we can, like, build this and then... Oh, we can. I've got an idea. I'm gonna try to make a masterwork or a legendary death rest casket so that it gives you bonuses, I think. I think we should try to do that. But do you want to change into a vampire now, Helios? Or do you have any, like, things you want to try first? Also, where's Kaimano? I'll wait a bit until I have some of the pumps and such. You won't need a death rest immediately, if you're curious about that. Let's see. How long is this going to take? Oh, here we go. You can get Soul Form, Chem Fuel Blood, Strong Melee, Standard Body, and Female. What do you want, Kaimana? You can pick, like, between any of these. Soul Form like an avatar. The shape and size of this being is determined by the amount of soul power. Note that if soul power is at 0 or less, this will do nothing. It takes place after age 5. Decreases metabolic efficiency by -3. Plus 0.6, plus 1,000 raid wealth, mining speed, drilling speed, construction speed, raid wealth, caravan carrying weight scaled by soul power. Alters the body size and attribute to be associated traits. Dramatic effect on max nutrition. Very large effect on nutrition use. Dramatically modifies health. Alters damage a little bit less than a linear increase. Large effect on melee dodge chance benefiting small characters. Very large effect on self-production from alpha genes and biotech. It also gives you soul embodiment. So the shape and size of this being is determined by their amount of soul power. Oh, wait, so you turn into a soul form. I can take female, I won't change a thing. Yeah, you can. You can. But it will... Okay, just so you keep in mind, Kaimana, just so you keep in mind, it will put you at -5, but I can keep the human body to... No, you will turn into a soul. I don't know how this is going to affect you. I don't know how this is going to change whether or not you can have kids, but I think this is going to give you, like, the form of a soul. So I think that a soul can't get preggo. I wouldn't be surprised if a soul couldn't become pregnant. You know? You could get Chemfuel blood if you want to set things on fire whenever you bleed. Strong melee kind of sucks because that's just, like, free skill points. Yeah, it gives you +4 to your melee, but, like, it doesn't matter. Like, once you get to level 20, this does nothing. It's just a waste of 1 metabolic efficiency. So I don't recommend taking it. Standard body doesn't matter. You could have female so that every single one of your kids are female. I don't want anything. Okay. Actually, I can cancel. If you don't want anything, that's fine as well. But, yeah. Are you sure? You could go for Chemfuel blood. That's literally just complexity, so that's free. That's completely free if you wanted that. Slow runner gives you plus physically female. Physically female would allow all of her kids to be daughters instead. Okay, then I want Chemfuel blood. Yeah, then when you bleed, you'll begin to bleed gasoline. And then it can be set on fire and burn everything. I feel like eventually, Kaimana, maybe you can get fire resistance or something. So, if you want all girls, you can get that. Yeah, exactly. Kaimana, you could get this and then every single one of your kids will be daughters. You can do that if you'd like. No, I want them mixed. Okay, okay, okay. We'll do Chemfuel blood, and I'm going to double check. That is what you want, correct? You want Chemfuel blood? Yes, okay. Incorporate gene. There we go. You've now got Chemfuel blood. And let's see. Kaimana has, yeah, Chemfuel blood as a part of your Xenogenes now. Very cool. Actually, that is a really cool gene. It is a little bit busted because you can choose. You can just, like, pick genes off the bodies of dead people, but it does have a 2-day cooldown. I feel like maybe I should do a single-player playthrough with that as one of my thingamabobs. Oh, here we go. Oh, wait. I'm sorry, Helios. I think I might have accidentally set you to be a vampire already. But now you're a sanguinophage. Hey, so am I able to get genes right away, or do I have to wait thing? You have 44 days until you can change your genes. I'll try other bodies after the cooldown. Man, I gotta go eat now. Take care, Kaimana. Oh, actually, it is getting pretty late. I think now, with that sorted, Helios is a vampire. Kaimana's stolen a couple of genes. Maybe we wrap up there. Or what do you all think? Well, actually, it doesn't matter what you think. I'm deciding. Let's see. Stream. Oh, wow, look at everything happening. Whoa, look, everyone's walking around. Everyone's doing things. Whoa. Here we go. So when I wake up, I can vamp the vamp stuff and endogene? Exactly. Exactly. Take care, Kaimana. Take care. Hope you have a wonderful day and a wonderful rest of your weekend, however long it lasts, or wonderful beginning of your week. And then we'll swap over to this. And then get new Xenogenes? Yes, exactly. And then you can get new Xenogenes, and then you can do whatever you want in that case. So for Kaimana, it's already Monday, I assume? Probably, yeah. How much money or mana would it cost to get rid of it if it's only 44 days? I think... Wait, I would have to double check how many days it is in a year in Rimworld. Is it like 120 days in a year in Rimworld? Let's check. 60 days. Okay, so it's nearly an entire year. I would say that because it's 2/3 approximately, or around 3/5, maybe... Maybe like... Instead of 2,500, I can make it 1,700 instead. Why Munancho? Why Homodahog Doko? It's now Munancho because of the meme, and also because, well, Homodahog needed a little bit of a break, and that's why. Otherwise, I hope that you have all enjoyed today. I hope that despite me being a little bit tired, that you all had fun. We discussed a lot of Witch Hat Atelier, some of the current episodes that we're watching through. we discussed a bit of its connections to Shinsekai Yori, just because I like Shinsekai Yori and some of the thematic elements to it, as well as playing a little bit of Peglin. We played a little bit of Rimworld, and we discussed a whole lot, so I hope Home of the Hog is dead. No, she's not! Home of the Hog is not dead! Home of the Hog is not dead whatsoever, okay? 1700 mana or silver? 1700 mana, because it would be... oh, wait. No. I think I made you pay silver. Yeah, so 1700 silver it would be. That's my bad. It was 2,500 silver per year of genes that you had to go through to regenerate them, but I'm making you all pay 1,700 silver instead. But yeah, I've already closed the game, Disco, so it'll have to be next time. You can't start it, the game is closed! But that is all for me today. Thank you so much for tuning in, apprentices. I hope you all had fun. I still have fun, regardless of the situation. And I hope that I will see you all tomorrow for a little bit of Yakuza 0. And no, I'm not gonna open up Rimworld again. That's not a command. Bad. Bad. That's not a command. That's not a command. I will see you all tomorrow. I need to begin trying to push out a new short for today if I can even get one done in time. And we'll see about that. Otherwise, you can expect the monthly compilation to come out maybe on Monday or maybe on Tuesday. I'm going to try to get it out on one of those days. And I'll have my shorts be on a regular schedule. This weekend, I was just super duper tired. So thank you for understanding, apprentices. I'll see you tomorrow.